trigger warning. We're going to be talking about some emotionally weighted and charged topics. So give yourself grace, and if you're not ready to listen, that's okay. Hello, and welcome back to Right on Time with me, Megan.
And me, Sarah. And welcome to the wee bonus episode that we're putting out there.
Bonus.
I know, wee cheeky bonus.
Yeah.
How lucky are you?
I know. We figured it'd been quite a lengthy stint since we last caught up.
Yeah. We recorded in November, the last 2 episodes, and then we missed December. So we just thought we'll give you a wee present day update.
Where we're at, what's going on, what we've been up to over the Christmas and New Year period.
Yeah.
So yeah, Happy New Year. I feel like we've said it multiple times, but yeah, it's been a nice Christmas and a nice New Year. Our first with the boys.
Yeah. It's been nice, but it's been stressful. I would say it's
a lot's
been
happened.
Yeah, a little bit overwhelming at different points, hasn't it been?
Yeah, it has.
Do you want to go first and explain
what's been going on?
Yeah.
So we last recorded back in, I think it was like the 29th November.
Yeah, end of November.
Yeah. And the plan was to come in early December and do our 3rd episode. And in that period, Blake was doing really well and just going from strength to strength. And then our health visitor came out and our kind of world changed quite quickly, whereby she noticed in our just catch up that Blake's head had got a little bit bigger. She hadn't seen him in 8 weeks, so it had been quite a while since she last caught up with us and saw him and wanted to measure his head. And long and short, we decided to take him to the GP to get him checked out. By the way, they also said they didn't think there was anything wrong with it, gave us a reassurance, asked if Paul and I had big heads.
They had spoke to like a consultant as well. They had like spoke to a doctor at the hospital.
Yeah, so we
conferred.
We had spoke to the GP. The GP was like, I'm going to phone the consultant at the paediatrics unit. They then kind of got the rundown of Blake, the fact that he was fine in himself. Like, genuinely, we would never have known.
Yeah.
Like, he was absolutely grand. And yeah, the paediatric consultant was like, we'll refer him as an outpatient. And then we actually got this letter not that long ago, and it was for late January.
Right.
And yeah, but they were fine. They were chill about it. But it was one of those ones that I just couldn't sit with.
Just niggling, yeah.
Yeah, it was just like sitting, mum gut, call it.
Yeah.
And yeah, we spoke to a family friend who is a neurosurgeon.
Luckily.
Talk about fate and how things work out. But he had recommended Blake was due into hospital the week afterwards for an elective procedure, which was a day case, something really low key and simple. But he was going to have to go under general anaesthetic. And they'd said, if that's the case, give your surgeon a heads up, just because a anaesthetist may not feel overly comfortable with putting him under if there's an outstanding head point. So anyway, Paul and I decided I couldn't shift it. And I was like, let's just go up to the hospital, go through A&E. And if it's a nothing, then we can squash it. Yeah. And then we can enjoy our festive.
You're better safe than sorry, do you know what I mean?
Exactly. And I was like, we'll enjoy the Christmas period. And if it's something, well, then we'd rather know.
Yeah.
And then we went up to A&E and everything changed at that point.
God.
So, yeah, they did multiple scans and they unearthed that he had fluid between his skull and his brain. So, in actual fact, he had chronic build-up of fluid, which had been going on for months, which, as I say that out loud, I actually almost feel quite ashamed because as a mum...
How are you supposed to know though? Because like we've said before, they grow at different points. Yeah. Babies grow disproportionate. 1 minute they've got long legs, 1 minute they've got a wee chubby belly. Like, you just didn't know.
And premies have always notoriously had bigger heads. So I think for us, like, we just assumed, oh, he's got a big head. But I also didn't look at him right and think, your head's really big.
Yeah, like, I never thought that.
No. The only thing that I think would have been a flag was I went and bought him a hat. And I remember thinking, like, oh, it's a 3 to 6 months. That's a bit, like, on the tight side for him. But I also was like, that's cool. Because actually, he's not 6 months gestationally.
Yes. I know, so that's the thing as well. So you didn't know, like...
I was like, is his head bigger?
I wouldn't be ashamed of that.
Yeah.
At all.
Anyway, so, yeah. Our world basically crumbled again.
And then you voice noted me, because I was like voice noting you about the podcast edit or something, when I was like just talking about the clips or something like that. I can't remember. Yeah. And then you sent me one back and I literally was like, oh my God. And I had just phoned you immediately and you were in the car, weren't you? Because you were Because there was something else happening to you.
So I'm not laughing because of the whole thing that went on with Blake. I'm laughing because obviously things changed really quick. We went in and they then said we need to do an MRI to get more imaging and find out what's actually going on and just establish how much pressure.
Yeah, if it's like immediate.
His head is in, basically, or head is under. And to do that, they need to do an MRI and do it under general anaesthetic. So he had to stay in. And at that point, they were like, we will make a decision about how we then progress with this. Do we operate? Do we leave it and just observe it? And Paul and I had a Domino's, because what else do you have when you're in hospital and you need to get a delivery or go to? And within 20 minutes, I would say, like instantaneously, I was like, oh my God, like I did not feel well. To the point I remember like flashback to pregnancy and I was like, God, they put that box lid down. I can't smell it.
I'm going to be sick.
He was raging because he's like, I'm starving. Like, and I was like, well, go sit at the other end of the bed.
For God's sake.
Anyway, turned out I ended up catching norovirus.
Well, this thing, she was telling me she'd been violently sick in the hospital, and I'm like, maybe it's a visceral reaction to the news that you've just heard. Like, we didn't know if it was just like her being so stressed out.
You were like, Megan, you had been through such shit. Excuse my French, but you had been through such a hard year. You've just had one thing after another, and actually, you were like, you're so resilient and strong. You've just somehow managed to get through it and survive it. Is this your body almost going to shut down because it's like enough is enough? Which, to be honest, I said to you in the car,
Maybe.
Sarah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
Yeah.
But anyway, I pulled into the petrol station. I was like, Sarah, I'll phone you back. I'm going into the petrol station. Spewed at the petrol station.
No.
And then got home and, oh my God. I mean, anyone who gets norovirus, kudos to you. It was coming out of me.
Both ends.
Both ends. There's one point that
You just have to laugh.
Like, honestly, at one point, I said to Sarah, I was like, you know the scene in Bridesmaids where the girl's on the sink?
It's happening.
I was like, that is me. Oh, it's awful. Like, I don't need to go into too much detail, but it was everywhere. It was awful. And
Just what you needed in that moment in time, eh? Just
I
what you needed.
text you, like, at like, I think it was like maybe 11 o'clock at night, and I just went, the unthinkable has happened.
Oh, God. At this point, I said to you, I said, you must have some bad karma in a past life. Because
you're like, what have you
hell?
done?
I know, what
you're
have
like,
you done?
who have you held a because we always joke, I hold grudges apparently. Yeah. And she was like, who have you held a grudge against? Anyway, but because I had norovirus, Blake then caught it, and I wasn't allowed in hospital.
And his operation couldn't go ahead until that was passed.
So they did the MRI. They then decided we need to operate on this, and they were going to operate the next day, which was horrific. I'll never forget that, being in bed the next morning and Paul saying that they've told me you cannot come in until 48 hours after you've had a bout of something, so sickness or diarrhea. But they're going to operate. And they had to phone me with the surgeons and talk about it and give my consent. It was horrendous. But in some weird way, because he then caught the norovirus, it then delayed.
Yeah.
So it then meant I could be there. So, yeah, I couldn't be in hospital for like 4 days. Poor Godsey was then put in an isolation room. And like they'd come in with masks and everything. Blake in himself, though, you'd never know.
No.
So like that was really hard because Paul's like looking at him like
There's nothing wrong.
The wee guy's doing amazing, and unbeknown to us, there's something really serious going on, and they couldn't give us answers.
Yeah.
So they're like, this is chronic. It's not something that has been like an instant trauma to his head.
Yeah.
Like it's just something that's been a build up. But then as a parent, we sat and picked at ourselves and beat ourselves up about the fact that we missed it.
Yeah.
We didn't notice it. It took somebody else. But yeah, I think we've kind of got to a place now where we've come to accept that it happened over a period. And we've,
gradually. And see, when you look at your child, like you've got them every day, you don't notice all the changes straight away. It just comes and hits you. Sometimes you think, oh my God, you're huge.
Yeah.
Or like, and that's
A change,
someone else always says, oh, he's so big. Every time I see him, he just looks bigger because they don't see him all the time.
Yeah.
So don't beat yourself up. Like, there is nothing you could have done.
It's one of those ones. And I think as parents, you're your own worst critic, right?
Yeah.
Particularly. But yeah, so he went for his surgery, and thank God it all went really well.
Yeah.
They drained. That was terrifying. And I have to say, I think that procedure was just as terrifying as his first ever operation, because we weren't just talking about something mechanical in his esophagus, which we had a bit of experience in. It was an unknown territory of like neuro.
Yeah.
We're in a ward of people.
Brain, like, oh my God.
Yeah. And my biggest fear, and I said this to you, I had never said out loud, ever, But my biggest fear was that something would happen to him neurologically during
Yeah.
his stint in hospital that would steal him from us.
Yeah.
And we'd lose his personality, because those that know Blake, he's the smiliest little
Yeah,
boy.
he's a happy guy.
He's like, he giggles constantly, chats, he gets
Oh,
on his
he
mum.
burst shouts.
He does.
He's a shouter.
Like, honestly. But anyway, the surgical team were phenomenal.
And it all went well.
It did. And he came out of it. And yeah, we were in the hospital for 2 weeks, which is a hard 2 weeks.
Just before Christmas.
And all I kept on saying was, please get us home for Christmas. We
Yeah.
do not want to be here for Christmas. And we managed to, he was due in for an elective operation, obviously, initially. And we'd managed to really advocate and champion for him that he didn't have to go down the route of having 2 ops.
Yeah, so they just done it whilst he was under the...
So I was like, I
that.
don't want him to have 2 anaesthetics. Let's do in one, which they... I remember them saying, like, this is almost impossible in the NHS. Logistically, this is really hard. And I just said to them, I was like, but it's not impossible. Like, if there's ever a child to go and move mountains for, it's Blake.
You're
Please.
so convincing. Like, honestly, you could get anything that you want. See, if you were sitting talking to
Definitely
me
could.
and you wanted something off me, I would give you it. I would just be like, okay.
I mean,
You're right. You're right.
but you know what it was? Where I was like, in my gut, I was like, what I'm trying to ask and push for is the right thing here.
No, it is.
And that's
You
when I
were
was
right.
like, what I'm asking, I was like, I'm never someone who'll ever ask anyone to do something unreasonable.
Yeah.
So I was like, please, like, this is a basic. And I was like, in my job, outside of being Blake's mum and a podcaster,
Yeah.
I was like, I have to sometimes logistically figure things out, and you just have to figure out a way to happen. It might be a bit
Problem solver.
scrappy, but you make it work. So anyway, they did it. They came together. They moved mountains for him, and they did it under one op, which is phenomenal. And yeah, we're out within 2 weeks. But in that stint, there was something that was huge, which was, and Sarah's like, oh, where's she going to go
I
with
know.
this?
I'm a bit confused.
So for those that follow me on my socials,
Oh, yeah. Right, I know now.
Blake...
You got your Christmas wish.
I got my Christmas wish. I got my year's wish. And because Blake's esophagus was not connected, he was fed, not all of his feed, but a good chunk of his feed, particularly overnight, through an NJ tube that would go basically through his nose, past his stomach and into his intestine. And we're making strides to kind of get to a point where he no longer needed that tube, and he was taking bottles and weaning. But we kind of felt like that just wasn't going to happen this year. It was meant to have happened when he went for his elective procedure, but this all kind of was a curveball.
Yeah.
But Sarah and I would go to record their podcast most of the weeks, and it would always be 11:11.
Yeah, we'd see 11:11
In the car.
And I saw 11:11 that week with Felix. I was sitting in the living room.
Yeah.
And we both said it out loud.
The wish.
For the universe to hear.
Yeah, for Blake to no longer have his tube and to see his full face. And when we were in, he manifested it because he basically kept on pulling it out.
He told you, and I'm not needing this anymore.
He's like, I'm done.
Worked
and
out.
yeah. So we got out, and just in time for Santa visit, we got out on the 18th of December, and Blake, full face, was
Aw.
on display, which
There
was
you
just
go.
magic. So yeah, if you want something, you got to manifest it and put it out to the universe, because I mean, I feel we needed some good luck after.
Yeah, you needed something.
we
God,
needed a good
something
deed. So yeah, I've been a lot.
happening.
A lot's been happening. But we got home for Christmas, and
You got to do some Christmas activities.
we got to meet Santa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And how did that go? Was he all right?
it was amazing.
good.
It was really good.
Felix met Santa and he wasn't that bothered either, so I'm glad I don't have any crying photos.
Yeah, to be fair, I think Blake was like, "Who's this dude?" Like,
Yeah. Well,
the
good.
boys, but they both met Santa.
Yeah. We met Santa. What else did you do? Did you do anything else?
No, like, because we were pretty much in hospital for most of
Well,
it.
we-
Well, no, we did. We did
done one
something
together.
We did something really magical. Do you want to tell us about it?
So Megan roped us into this the day before, was it?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, what?
Standard,
And I was out that day, so I was a little bit hanging.
a little bit.
That
You
was my
were
first
mega
day out.
hanging.
That was my first day
Girls'
out or
night out.
whatever.
She was slut dropping.
Yeah. I don't think I was actually. I was pretending to be Madonna at one point. Though.
Yeah,
Yeah. Venoms were consumed. That's all I'm going to say.
a
God.
good night out was had.
And yep. So you're saying, oh,
I've seen a
the
post
Simpsons trusty charity
for the NICU.
for the NICU are doing a Christmas light switch on, and they need some little helpers. So I've emailed and said Felix and Blake could do it. And I'm like that. All right, okay.
All right, okay.
So we're all the way in Edinburgh to
And
our
I said
hotel.
to you, I was like, it's a good cause.
Yeah.
Like, it's the cause that brought the boys in. I was trying to like influence her because I was like, she's going to be cursing me right now.
I mean, I was cursing you, but I'm not going to say no. We're not going to do it for charity. Like, I'm not evil. I was like, all right,
But
we
I
better
also
do
thought-
this.
I also thought it was going to be bigger than it was.
Yeah.
So,
But
like,
it was nice though.
it was
still
beautiful.
nice.
It really, really was. And I think, again, it was full circle for us. Like,
Yeah.
it meant a lot. But I, in my head, had it to be inside for one.
Oh yeah, I was outside, freezing.
Yes. So you
Ryan
get,
missed the F1 race and he was raging.
I know the boys had to come.
because the traffic was so bad going home.
It was awful.
Anyway, that was nice though. It was nice.
And it was really lovely because the boys, well, I say the boys,
Pretended to
pretended
push
to
a button.
push the button and then the lights went on. But it was a full circle moment.
Yeah, it was really nice.
And I think everybody appreciated it. But yeah, Sarah was definitely cursing me because it was absolutely Baltic outside. I also wore a pair of my Jimmy Choo boots, which I don't, they're like good boots. I keep them in the box. I'm that sad, right?
Why did you wear them?
Because I thought it was freaking inside.
God.
And then obviously when it's muddy ground,
Yeah.
I
just
was
had the
like,
Converse on.
yeah, oh, my boots are ruined.
Oh God.
So actually, Paul was like, "Well, Sarah's gonna
Karma.
laugh, laugh."
There you go. Karma with that.
Definitely.
And you roped your mum and dad on it.
And this is funny. So, yeah, I told mum and dad about it, and they were like, "Oh, we want to be there. We want to see this and support yous." I did say to them, "It's low key, so don't worry about it." But they were like, "No, no, no, we're going to be there." And I told them it was a Scots hotel, and sent them the Google like
Maps.
location.
Mm-hmm.
Still,
They went to the Scotsman,
Scotsman, yeah, hotel
which is a good bit away.
in town, and they dropped the car off, so they parked the car somewhere like near the Scotsman. And then realised when they got there, they went into the hotel and there was like, there's no one from the charity.
Betty they asked, and they were like,
They're
"What are you
like, "What?"
talking about?"
And then they realised, and my dad said he went into like our group chat and was like, "Oh, there's a link." And then he realised, he was like, "Oh, it's
The different
a different hotel." So they were like, "Right, we've not got long to get there. We're just going to have to run because by the time we get the car and whatnot,
Yep.
it's too late." So they're running, and then
Love
but
this.
we're unbeknown to this, right?
Yeah, I have no
we
id-
have no
no
idea
idea.
about this. And then I'm saying to Sarah, "Mum and Dad are late. Like, what's
Wonder
going on?"
wonder where they are.
Yeah, because they left well before us, and then the next thing I know, my mum rocks up at the hotel we're at
Solo, just herself.
on her own, and I'm like, "Did you come on your own? Like, how?"
No, where's my dad?
And she was like, "Oh, a bit of a story." And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "We went to the wrong hotel, and then your dad was like, 'Right, we're just going to have to run and get there." And she's like,
I just jumped in a taxi
decided
and I
to
left
leave
him.
and I just jumped in hold the taxi, left him.
She just jumped in a taxi and left them running and didn't tell him nothing. So he doesn't know where she is, if she's behind or
So
whatever.
apparently he was running ahead and she was behind, and she was like, "Oh, screw this." So she was like, "Taxi." But then rather than say to my dad or say to the driver, "See that poor sod who is puffed out his nut. Do you want
Red-faced.
Yeah, like, do you want to offer him to get in?" No, she just drove off.
Love that.
And then my dad said he saw her in the taxi. And then, yeah, about maybe 25 minutes later, my dad rocks up, beetroot,
Yeah.
sweating.
What a shame. I mean, love that for your mum.
Glam
love
jam.
that energy.
See ya.
Yeah. So that was fun.
That was fun.
That was fun.
And
What else?
then-
We went to see the Christmas lights at the Botanics, which was
Oh,
nice
yeah,
with
that
my
was nice.
family, and then with Ryan's family because his brother from Qatar, he lives in Qatar, came over with his girlfriend for Christmas, and we went to the Five Sisters Zoo illuminations, and that was really nice as
That
well.
looked really nice as well.
Yeah, it was
Did you
good.
feel it's like it?
Yeah, he loves all the lights, but he did fall asleep like halfway through. It was a little bit like,
Anticlimax.
yeah, but. I mean, he loved the lights at the start and everything like that. Harlow was there, our nephew, and he loved it. And you'd see the animals and stuff like that
is
as well.
nice.
So it was nice.
Nice photos.
Yeah, it was really nice. Nice little activities to be done. And then Christmas Day was just, I felt like Christmas Day was just really overwhelming.
It was
just
different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just different. That's the only thing. You're obviously stressed out because you're getting all the stuff for Felix to go to this house and this house. Went to my mum's and then went to Ryan's mum and dad's for dinner. And like, you're just getting flung presents left, right, and centre. It's just a lot. And you're still trying to keep like a routine of like, right, he needs to sleep now, he's tired, like, and you're trying to do that, but there's so much noise going about. I think it was just a bit overwhelming for me. And then Christmas dinner was at Ryan's mum and dad's house, and the last time we had a whole family dinner, I mentioned in the first episode, was when we were in the hospital, and that was like a really hard moment for me. And I think subconsciously I was maybe thinking about that. It did get
Aware of it.
mentioned. It did
Oh, it
get
did?
mentioned. Yeah, like I can't remember one of the family members, I can't remember, mentioned, said, "This the last time we done this, Felix was just born, he's in hospital." And I was kind of like, "Oh yeah." And then when I got home, I was absolutely shattered. So Ryan was having a drink and I was driving. So I was going to have a drink on Boxing Day. So that, again, is another one. It's like...
Trade-offs.
Yeah, who's
doing-
having a drink the night? That's what's different about Christmas Day now. But, yep, and we got home and I honestly was shattered. Like, I was so tired. I felt like I could cry, like, because I was so tired.
Overwhelmed.
And, like, stressed out, I think. Like, just because I was trying to get him to sleep, but it was so noisy and you're trying to take him away, but then he's unsettled because he's overstimulated as well. It was just a lot. And then got to bed and honestly I had a full-on panic attack.
What are you telling me?
Like, it was the strangest thing. Like, it just fully
And a
came
really,
over me.
really bad one, right?
Yeah, it was like one of the worst ones that I've ever...
Experience.
Yeah. I was properly panicked and I was like sobbing. But like, you know that way I was totally fine. I was in bed. I was calm. I think that it was obviously just my body.
Hit you like that. And it was just
then
boom.
I had to be violently sick. I had to run to the toilet and I was violently sick. It was just so strange. And I think it just obviously took me back to that moment. And it was maybe a bit of PTSD. So that's been my kind of moment to like, right, I need to go and see someone about this and maybe talk to someone. It actually has affected me a lot more than
Reading
what...
its head.
Yeah.
And I wondered if, like, the reason that it didn't consume you on Christmas Day was because you were running on a bit of adrenaline.
Yeah, and you're like, I'm focusing on...
Felix, and they're focusing on, like, socialising.
Yeah, and having a good time and
Yeah, it's
being
Christmas.
happy.
It's his first Christmas. You want to make it special.
That's the thing. There's a lot of pressure on like the first Christmas thing.
Yeah. And actually, I find the first Christmas, to be a bit of anticlimax because
Yeah.
you've got no clue what's going on.
Yeah.
But as you say, the routine has to remain even in amongst the crazy, lovely day that
Yeah.
everyone has. But yeah, I feel like maybe that moment when you got home, you just had a moment to breathe
Yeah.
and just be like, whoa,
Yeah, so it was a little bit like
what's
the
happening?
whole actual day was fine. Like I said, just overwhelming, just a bit like. But yeah, when I got home, I think it just really hit me. So I'm gonna have to sort that out and talk to someone, I think.
I'm really proud of you because you talked about it and you're sharing it.
Yeah, which I'm doing because I need to like actually action it because otherwise I'll just be like, fine, and I'll just again sweep under. So I really need to phone the wellness team
And
See
we've
if I
talked
can-
about that around different stages. Like, do you think you're ready yet? Do you think you need it yet? And I think that hits people at different stages.
Yeah.
And actually, what you're seeing is, I think you've deep down known potentially you've
yeah,
needed
probably
it. But
life gets in the way and you just
it does.
carry on.
And I think there's also an element where you just keep calm, carry on, and you're like, oh, like, I'm the bottom of the priority.
I'll deal with that later, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I need to sort that out. So
I'm proud of you.
thanks. Well, don't be proud of me yet. I've not done it yet.
Well, no, I'm proud because you're putting it out there.
Yeah.
Right? You're sharing it. And you're sharing it because it is normal.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, it's definitely normal, and that's the thing. Like
It's okay.
anyone else feeling like that,
And even if you've not had a journey
Come
like
join
you've
the crew.
had, yeah, like if you've not had a really roller coaster like NICU experience, you've just become a parent.
Yeah.
Whether it's first or second
it's
time.
overwhelming. That's the thing. Like
The juggle of Christmas, the juggle of trying to make it perfect, and also, by the way, still doing Christmas gifts and stuff.
oh yeah, I know for everyone else getting organised. And
Yeah.
everything.
Like, and if you hosted and you're a parent, tell you
God.
what,
I will
hats
never
off.
be doing that.
Like hats off to you. Do not know
I
how you
will
do
never
that.
be doing that.
We just made it to my mum and dad's on time, and we live 2 minutes from
Yeah,
them.
you do live
So
really close.
like, I was like, how are we really running late here? But yeah, I am really proud of you. But I think that's a real, as you say, a full circle moment.
Yeah, it hits you, and you just think, oh god, yeah, this has actually affected me in some way.
Yeah.
But yeah. And what about your Christmas day? Was it nice?
It was really nice. It was chaotic. It was. Do you know what? It was very uneventful,
Was it? Oh, that's good.
which is all we needed.
Yeah.
That's all I would have wanted for in Christmas.
Yeah, you
Day.
had enough for the whole year.
I was like, I just want a really
I just
lovely.
want to watch Gavin and Stacey.
Honestly, that was the highlight of my Christmas. I said to Sarah, like, I am such a Gavin and Stacey fan, to the point on the lead up to it, every night Paul and I would watch an episode to make sure we're caught up.
I watch it every Christmas, but I'm not going to lie, I thought it was a little bit anticlimactic.
What?
It was very predictable what I thought was going to happen.
Oh no, but I kind of liked that. Like, I was a
Yeah,
bit
I
like,
get it.
you're giving us what we want.
I just think that do you know what it is? I wanted the episode to be a Christmas episode. I wanted it to be...
Step into Christmas.
Yeah, I wanted that, and I think that's why I'm a little bit holding the grudge on that, but yeah. Anyway. Anyway.
I think for a lot of people, Gavin and Stacey is one of these like household programs.
Yeah, it's a comfort. That's a comfort.
And for us, that we were like, oh, it's so nice to relate to a program that everybody's got one of those characters probably in their life
Yeah.
somewhere. Yeah, like when Paul and I were watching it, we were laughing in hysterics because the pair of us were like, when we watched the first Christmas special, which was in
2008, I think.
No, it wasn't that long. It was like 2016, I think. The most recent, no, the one that was not like
The last one?
the last one was
5 years ago.
20. Thanks, Mark. 2019.
Yeah.
So when that came out, Paul and I were up north. We had driven up north. Paul's family lived really far away, like 4 hours, and we got in just in time for Gavin. Just in time for it.
Amazing.
And we were like, God, our lives are so different.
Yeah.
Like we've got the little one here.
I know.
And
And you're maybe, we watched it like an hour and a half later, I think,
Yeah.
recorded because we had to
we
get
watched
out
it
of
in
bed.
parts.
Yeah.
Because Blake kept waking
know.
up. But yeah, Christmas was lovely.
Good.
A lot of fun.
Chilled New Year.
We're in bed by 10:30.
Were you? Did you miss the bells?
We missed the bells.
Did you?
Yeah.
We stayed up for the bells and then went to bed.
Yeah, we were planning to stay up, but we were just utterly. And also, this is going to sound so morbid, but I was so done. I was
Yeah.
ready to say tarry bye
Yeah.
to 2024.
Fair enough. To be fair, like, you didn't
Yeah.
miss much. Like,
Someone said to me, they were like, Megan, after the year that you guys have had, I'm surprised you're not to put the middle finger up to 2024.
I know.
So I think we were just like, we're ready. Like,
Yeah.
come on, 2025, give us a good year.
Good. Well,
Yeah.
and we want to end the little bonus ep
Yeah.
on a little mum dilemma
Mum dilemma.
or parent dilemma. So if we ever, we'll
Or
put it in
even
our
just
socials.
life dilemmas. It doesn't have to be
We'll
just
put this out
mums.
in socials just so we have it in the bank for next
Yeah.
time. Send them in.
We want to hear them.
If you want our advice, I mean, we're not experts or that. But
No, but we'd like to hear them because it also just makes us feel like
Feel
we're
a
not the
bit
only,
better.
Yeah, we're not the only ones. So my mum dilemma is I went to our next block of Baby Sensory.
Right.
So it's obviously got a mix of like some of the mums and their babies that were there last time, and then a new cohort as well.
Right.
And there was these 5 new mums who obviously knew each other really well. My friends that go to the class weren't there because their
Right.
little ones were
A
a
little
little
older
bit
now.
older than Blake, so they've gone to the next class. Anyway, Blake post this procedure has got 2 wounds
Right.
on his head, and it's where the burr holes went in, and one of them is, you've seen it, is slightly swollen
Yeah.
because there's fluid that is still within his head that needs to be absorbed, and it looks quite risen, like you can clearly see it.
Yeah, you can see it.
There's nothing wrong with it. We've had it checked and whatnot, but it's something that I am really aware of.
Yeah.
And purely because I don't want anyone sitting thinking, oh, has he bumped his head or
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So I feel like we've gone from having the tube
Yeah, to this.
to this a little bit. But anyway, went to the class and yeah, these mums started talking about it in my earshot.
Did they?
To the point that one of them was like, you seen that kid's head? And I'm sitting there being like, now there's music going on and I could still hear it. So it's obviously still loud enough, right? And I'm like, are they talking about Blake? Surely not, because they know I'd hear it. And then the next mum was like, yeah, I noticed it. What the hell's going on with that kid's head? Right? And then another mum of the 5 then was
That is
like,
rude.
but also like,
I hope they listen to this.
yeah, well, anyway, they probably won't, but that's okay. But then the bit that really hurt me was that one of them turned around and was like, I cannot believe she's brought him out to this class with that on his head. Like, how irresponsible. Like, there's no way I'd have come to this class with that. And I just sat, right? And in that moment, I just wanted the world to swallow me up because people have vouched, I can stand up for myself. Like, yeah, I'm not.
Just obviously dumbfounded, like, and shocked.
But I was
just taken aback, like, how, what?
I can stand up for myself and I can hold my own. But at that moment, I just sat and I said nothing. And I just felt so small and I felt awful as a mum. Now, I obviously know the reason for this.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's a backstory to this. But yeah, that was and I said nothing, right?
Must
nothing.
be a shame to have such a perfect life, and must be great.
Yeah. So that was my mum dilemma. Should I have said, bog off?
Yeah, I would have.
Or did I do the right?
Did you shoot them a look? I would have shoot them a look. Be like,
So I honestly...
what?
That's where I needed you in the class to be like, I felt like in that moment, I didn't want to create any more attention because all the attention I
I'm
felt like
raging at
was
that, by the
staying.
way. I'm raging.
Yeah.
I'm raging.
So my dilemma is, what should I have done there? Did I do the right thing by just sit and say nothing? And not, because I don't want to put any more attention to the situation. Or should I have turned around and been like, if you're that interested, just ask me.
Yeah.
Like,
You could have just, like, well, if it was me, I maybe would have been a little bit more raging. I would have shot them a look and been
Yeah.
like...
maybe I probably
But-
should have said, I think I should have looked at them.
And
but I
you
was
should
just-
have said he's actually had brain surgery recently. And just hammed it up. I would have hammed it up so that they felt really bad.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no reaction is a reaction, I suppose.
I think if I was to live it again, I would say something. But it's that one where I'm like, am I
Well, we
being the
will
bigger
next week when we're both there. I'm coming with you.
There we go. So there's my dilemma.
I'll be there and I'll say...
Sarah's gunning for them.
Excuse me.
So if you are listening to the pod, you better watch out.
But what a strange thing to go for a child as well. Like, just in the
Well, I also
grand
was-
scheme of things, you don't ever do
Yeah.
that.
No.
Like,
You don't know someone's story.
no.
And I also think I'm the type of person that I would rather, if someone's trying to step on the ladder, right, I'll give them a hand up the ladder. I'm not the type of person who'll pull up behind them. That's just me as an individual. And as a mum, I'm no different.
And as well, see if they actually really wanted to comment on it. Wait until you are all left, like they're away home,
Yeah.
on the group chat like a normal person.
Right?
Like,
Talk about me behind my back.
so I don't know about it.
Yeah. That's so true. I never thought about that. So yeah, there's my dilemma.
And then there's us talking about it on a podcast.
There we go. What is yours? Before I
Mine
wrap up.
is a little bit. Mine is just on weaning. I think we're starting to kind of wean, and he's wanting to grab things, but he's not interested in the food. Like if I have baby led weaning, let's say that, like if I have the things there, he's not going to grab that. Purees he's fine with, but see if I hold up something, he'll suck it in his mouth. I think I'm just a dilemma of like, I don't know if this is too soon for him. Like the
Is he not
purees,
ready yet?
yeah, like because some purees, he'll take a few and then he's just not really interested. So I don't know whether I've just started too soon and I should stop, or if I should carry on. That's my dilemma. I just don't really know.
So if there's any dietitians that listen to us, that'd
Yeah.
be great for your advice. So if
Or I'd love to know what you guys did. Like,
Yeah.
send any tips.
Yeah.
Hit me
Because
up.
I would be, so we've obviously done the weaning journey, but we've had to do it slightly earlier
Yeah.
because of Blake. So ideally to no longer have to have a tube, we want to start weaning, get him on foods and whatnot. We've started earlier, and the advice we always got was, as long as he is showing the signs where he's holding himself up, like it's able to like go for things in his hands,
Mm-hmm.
and if he's putting hands to mouth, all that kind of stuff, then
See, he is, but I feel like he's not sitting up right, like in his chair. I don't know if maybe he's just a bit too small for the chair, but
Yeah.
he's always kind of like this.
Yeah.
And I feel like
that restricts him slightly. 'cause
Yeah,
he's
I'm
not
like, and
probably
I'm
eating
always
quite-
just hit the mic. I'm always like readjusting him. So
Yeah.
I just don't know. But I feel like I'm only doing like maybe half. Like, well, you only do like 3 or 4 spoonfuls, really,
Yeah.
don't you, at the start? Kind of just doing that every day once. And he like sucked a mango. He liked that.
Yeah,
Like, do you know what I
well,
mean?
that's progress.
Like he's sucking it, but
Yeah. Well, the first few weeks when we did weaning, Blake did not like he's not feeding himself. Do you know what I mean? And the first few weeks, there's a lot of like put the
Aye.
tongue out and spitting
yeah,
it back
that's
out.
what it is. A little
And
bit of gagging and stuff. But,
Yeah.
and it is just getting him
Perseverance.
used. I think that's what it is. I'm just worried that I'm
Doing it wrong.
pushing it or what it like. That's all. But I suppose just keep going.
The one thing that I got a top tip from the hospital dietitian who, when I was exactly like you. I was like, I don't think Blake's ready.
Yeah.
She was like, just give him patience.
Yeah.
Because he was like, he will get there. And I remember thinking, right, okay. And she was like, this taking a little bit is something.
Yeah. I suppose.
So she was like, take your wins, where it doesn't have to be you take the whole pouch.
Yeah.
Because we're not even at that stage by any stretch of the imagination. But she was like, little bits. And she was like, and then you'll start to see progress.
Yeah.
And if he's at that stage where he's like, mum, feck off, and pushing it away all the
Yeah.
time, then you maybe just say, right, you know what, today's not the day.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was mine.
I love it.
Thanks for coming for a little bonus episode.
Yeah, thanks for a little cheeky midweek listen.
Yeah, we just wanted to update you on the present day.
Yeah, and hope you have a great week.
Yeah, you too.
All right, love you, bye.
Love you, bye.